Hello. Today I will tell a story about how one good deed can change two lives forever. You spend the night and leave. A rich businessman Maxim picked up a chilled girl near the night station, threw her a blanket in the guest room, but when he accidentally saw the contents of her old bag, the blood froze in his veins. Welcome to the channel Stories of the Big City. Before we begin, right where you are watching us from, this is for us very interesting. We wish you a pleasant listening to this fascinating story. Maxim drove the car on autopilot, barely distinguishing the road through the measured tapping of the wipers on the windshield. The October rain poured down like buckets, turning the highway into a continuous mess of glare and blurry lights. The business trip squeezed him dry. 3 days of negotiations with investors who never gave a clear answer, constant tension, lack of sleep in the hotel room, where the air conditioner hummed like an airplane. I wanted only one thing: to get home, collapse into bed and turn off the phone for at least a day. The traffic light at the entrance to the city was burning red. Maxim slowed down, rubbed his face with his palms. There was a pounding in his temples, in his mouth there was a taste of airplane coffee and fatigue. 42 years old, but felt like 60. A business that once brought excitement and pleasure, now turned into an endless series of problems. Either suppliers let you down, then clients delay payment, then the tax office sends another notification about the audit. Green light. The car rolled further past the night windows of closed shops, past rare passers-by hurrying under umbrellas. The station square appeared on the right. Maxim usually did not go here, but today he decided to take a shortcut through the center to save about 20 minutes. And then his gaze caught on a figure at the entrance to the station building. The girl was sitting right on the wet steps, clutching some kind of shabby backpack. The thin jacket was wet through, her hair was stuck together from the rain. She did not try to hide under the visor, she just sat, clasping her knees with her hands and trembling slightly. In the light of the street lamp one could see how water was flowing from her clothes, forming puddles on the steps. Maxim drove by 50 meters and suddenly braked. He didn't understand why. Usually he didn't pay attention to the homeless and beggars, there were enough of them in the city, you can't help everyone. But something in this figure caught my attention. Maybe because the girl was very young. Maybe because she didn't ask for alms, didn't wave at passing cars, she just sat there, as if she no longer had the strength to even move. He turned on the emergency lights, turned around and drove up to the station. He lowered the window and shouted, "Hey, get in the car." The girl shuddered, raised her head. Her face was pale, her lips were bluish. She looked at him incredulously, without moving from her place. "Come on, sit down quickly, you'll get wet to the skin," Maxim repeated sharply. She slowly got up, grabbed her backpack and hesitantly approached the car. She opened the back door, but Maxim said, "Go ahead, sit down, I'm not a taxi driver." Christina, although he didn't know her name yet, climbed into the front seat, leaving wet marks on the leather upholstery. She pressed the backpack to her chest, as if it was her only value in the world. "Sorry, I'm your seat." There was a pause. The girl was silent, biting her lip. "I'm asking where to take it?" he repeated, without taking his eyes off the road. I don't know," she said quietly, "you can just." Away from the station. Maxim squinted his eyes at her. In profile, it was clear that she was a girl of about 25, no more. Regular facial features, dark hair, stuck together from the water. Hands are very thin, there is a bruise on the wrist. A haunted, frightened look. Relative sis there? No. Girlfriends? No. Money for a hotel? She shook her head, looking out the window. Maxim cursed to himself. But why did he even stop? I had to drive by like all normal people. Now what to do? Should I drop her off somewhere in a residential area in the rain? Conscience began to ache like a nasty thorn. What if she was found frozen there in the morning? Newspapers love stories like this. A rich man drove past a dying girl. "My name is Christina," she began cautiously. "I'm not asking for anything, really. Just thank you for picking me up. I'd been sitting there for several hours, I thought, until the morning somehow." "I don't care what your name is," Maxim cut her off. "And you don't need to tell your stories." She fell silent, again burying her gaze in the window. Streams were falling on the glass, drops of rain. Behind them the lights of the night city flashed. Maxim felt like an idiot. Why is this such charity all of a sudden? Doesn't he have enough problems? The business is bursting at the seams, the partners are dissatisfied, the bank is breathing in the back with loans, and here he decided to play as a rescuer. But still he turned not into the city, but onto the city highway. His house stood 20 kilometers from the center, a 2-story mansion that he built 5 years ago in better times. Then it seemed that there would always be money. Then he still planned to get married, have children, fill this house with life. It didn't work out. The bride ran away to Moretto, a successful businessman, leaving a note on the refrigerator: "You work too much. I need a man, not an ATM." After that, Maxim decided that a family was a waste of time and nerves, turning off the engine. They entered the house. Maxim turned on the light in the hallway, threw the keys on the shelf. Christina stood on the threshold, water was dripping from her clothes onto the parquet. She looked around with quiet amazement. Apparently, she did not expect to see such a house. High ceilings, expensive furniture, paintings on the walls, a huge staircase to the second floor. "Take off your shoes," Maxim ordered, "and this wet jacket." She obediently took off her shoes, took off her jacket. Underneath was a simple t-shirt, also thoroughly wet. Maxim went into the bathroom, returned with a large terry towel. "Here, dry yourself." "Thank you," Christina whispered, accepting the towel. He led her to the first floor into the guest room. Small but cozy, a sofa that converts into a bed, a TV, a closet with clean linen. The window looked out into garden, but now behind it there was only blackness and rain drumming on the glass. "You'll spend the night here," Maxim said, turning on the light. "You'll leave in the morning. There's bed linen in the closet, you'll sort it out. There's enough food in the refrigerator if you get hungry. The kitchen is at the end of the corridor. Just don't touch anything except the food. Got it?" "Yes," she nodded. "Thank you very much. I'll leave in the morning, honestly. And I won't take anything." "We'll see," Maxim grinned, not believing a single word she said. He left the room, closed the door and went up to his second floor. He took off his wet shirt, threw it on a chair. The mirror reflected a tired face with dark circles under the eyes. 42 years old, and you look 50. Gray hair at the temples, wrinkles around the eyes. When did all this happen? Maxim went into the bedroom, collapsed on the bed, but there was no sleep. Thoughts were spinning in his head. What if this Christina is a fraud? What if she was sitting under the station on purpose, looking out for rich simpletons? Now he will clean out the house and disappear. Or even worse, he will call his accomplices, and they will come in the middle of the night. He heard such stories. He got up, went downstairs, poured himself some cognac. Walked around the living room, looking out the dark window. The rain got stronger, the wind shook the branches of the trees in the garden. The house seemed too big and empty. Once upon a time Maxim dreamed of filling it with the sounds of life, children's laughter, music, through the eyes of the guests. And now there is only him and silence. He drank more, then another. The cognac did not help him fall asleep, but at least calmed his nerves. Maxim sat down in a chair, closed his eyes. Why did he even pick her up? Out of pity, he is not one of those who regrets. Out of curiosity? What kind of curiosity is there an ordinary homeless girl? Out of a desire to feel like a good person? It's funny. He stopped considering himself good a long time ago. Maybe he is just tired of being alone. Tired of returning to an empty house where no one is waiting. Tired of not even having anyone to talk to. The guard at the gate answers in monosyllables. The housekeeper comes once a week and does her job in silence. There are no friends, everyone fled when things got worse. Only business acquaintances left who need something from him. Maxim opened his eyes, looked at his watch. 3:01 in the morning. I finished the cognac, put the glass on the table. I need to sleep. Tomorrow there is a lot of work again, a meeting with the accountant, a call to suppliers, sorting out the accumulated documents. And in the morning this girl will leave and everything will return to normal. He will be alone in this huge house again. For some reason, this thought made me sad. Maxim got up, turned off the light in the living room and wandered upstairs. He fell into bed, pulled on blanket. He fell asleep only in the morning, when the rain finally subsided, and it began to get brighter outside. Maxim woke up from the bright light hitting his eyes. His head was buzzing after yesterday's cognac, his mouth was dry. He opened his eyelids with difficulty, looked at his watch, 10:30. Some kind of pit of oblivion. He got up, went to the bathroom. He washed his face with cold water, looked at his reflection. Still the same tired face, but at least the eyes weren't so red. He went downstairs. There was silence in the house. No sounds from the guest room. Maxim walked into the kitchen, turned on the coffee maker. While the machine hissed and puffed, he opened the refrigerator. Everything was in place: cheese, sausage, milk, vegetables. Nothing disappeared. I poured myself some coffee, took a few sips. Caffeine began to break through the fog in my head. Maxim listened. There was still no sound from the guest room. Still sleeping, or what? He told her to leave in the morning. It's almost 10. He put the cup down and headed to the guest room. He opened the door slightly. The girl was lying on the sofa, curled up, covered with a blanket. She slept soundly, her breathing was even. Her face was calm, without yesterday's fear. Her hair was dry, scattered on the pillow in dark waves. She looked very young in her sleep, not 25, but 18 years old, not more. Maxim was about to close the door, but his gaze fell on the table by the window. Her bag lay there, not the backpack that she clutched to her yesterday, but some kind of old sports bag made of cheap fabric. The zipper was unbuttoned, papers were sticking out of it. He stepped into the room. "Don't," said an inner voice. "It's none of your business." But curiosity turned out to be stronger. Maxim walked up to the table, looked at papers. Ordinary documents, passport, some certificates. He mechanically took one piece of paper and froze. Court decision on termination of the right to use the residential premises. Date, 3 weeks ago. Address, Sadovaya Street, House 14, Apartment 8. Last name, Kovaleva Kristina Mikhailovna. Grounds, transfer of ownership of the residential premises to Viktor Sergeyevich Petrov on the basis of a court decision on the division of the inheritance property. Maxim took the following document. Certificate from the emergency room. Date, 21 days ago. Patient, Kovaleva KM. Diagnosis, closed fracture of the radius of the right hand, bruise of the soft tissues of the face, multiple hematomas. Reason for treatment, according to the patient, domestic trauma. The third sheet is the court decision to invalidate the will of Maria Pavlovna Kovaleva. Dated 4 months ago. Essence, the will, according to which the apartment passed to Christina, was declared invalid due to the discovery of an earlier will in favor of the brother of the deceased, Viktor Sergeyevich Petrov. Signature of the judge, seal. And the last thing, a photograph. Old, worn around the edges. A young woman of about 35 with dark hair is holding a girl of about 5 in her arms. Both are smiling. On the back in faded ink, Mom and Me. 2005 year. Maxim stood holding the papers and felt something shrinking inside. The picture was clear and disgusting. The mother died, left her daughter an apartment. An uncle appeared, the mother's brother, somehow got hold of an earlier will. The court sided with him. Christina was evicted. And when she tried to prove or defend something, she was beaten. They broke her arm. 3 weeks ago. He looked at the sleeping girl. Now the bruise on her wrist made sense. And her frightened look. And the way she huddled in the car yesterday, apologizing for every word. This is not a fraudster. This is a person who was thrown out into the street, having taken away the only thing she had. You promised not to touch my things. Maxim shuddered. Christina woke up, sat on the sofa, looking at him with wide-open eyes. There was horror in them. She jumped up, rushed to the table, tried to snatch the documents from him. Give it back. This is mine. You had no right. Calm down, Maxim said, stepping back. Give it back immediately. Her voice trembled, tears welled up in her eyes. I'll leave right now, just give it up. She grabbed the bag, began to stuff papers into it with trembling hands, sobbed, wiping away tears with the back of her hand. Maxim was silent and watched. Then he said, sit down. I'm already leaving, Christina sobbed, zipping up her bag. Sit down, I say. She froze. His voice was harsh, not tolerating any objections. Slowly sank down on the edge of the sofa, clutching the bag to her chest. She looked up at him, scared and wary. Maxim pulled up a chair, sat down opposite. He put his hands on his knees, looked her straight in the eyes. Explain. Quickly. All over again. I didn't want to deceive you, she muttered. Honestly. I just didn't know what to do. Where to go? There's no money, there's no work. That's not what I'm asking about, he interrupted. About the apartment. About this Uncle Petrov. Tell me in order. Christina swallowed, lowered her gaze. Mom died in April. Cancer. She was sick for a long time. I took care of her for the last 2 years. I quit my job, I was with her all the time. She left me a will real, correct. Apartment should have passed on to me. Next, Maxim nodded. A month after the funeral, Uncle Vitya came. This is Mom's brother. They didn't communicate for many years, since the 90s they had a fight over money. He said that he had another will, an earlier one. There, Mom supposedly left everything to him. I didn't believe it, Mom would have told me. We talked about everything with her. She fell silent, crumpling the edge of the blanket in hands. Continue, Maxim ordered. I went to the lawyer. He looked at both wills and said that my uncle looks real. Even the seal is natural. The date is 3 years earlier than mine. According to the law, the last will is valid, but if there is an earlier one. She paused. The court sided with my uncle. They said my will is invalid. The apartment is his. Did they carry out an examination of the signature? Maxim asked. Christina shook her head. No. My uncle told the judge that he had a witness, a woman who was at the signing. She came and confirmed. I have never seen her in person. And when I tried to say that it was all a lie, the judge looked at me like I was hysterical. She swallowed. Yes. And then what? 2 weeks later, the bailiffs came. They evicted me. They allowed me to take only personal belongings. I collected what I could: clothes, documents, my mother's photograph. Everything else was left. Furniture, dishes, mother's books, her jewelry. Uncle took everything. Her voice was breaking. Maxim saw how she was trying to hold on, but tears still flowed down her cheeks. Certificate from the emergency room. Tell me about her. Christina shuddered, instinctively pressed her right hand to her chest. I came there 3 days after the eviction. I wanted to pick up at least my mother's photo albums. He opened the door, said to get out. I began to explain that this is the only memory of my mother. She fell silent, looking at the floor. He pushed me. I fell down the stairs. Broke my arm. He hit me again when I tried get up. He said that if I appear again, it will be worse. Did you contact the police? Yes. I wrote a statement. The district police arrived, talked to my uncle. He said that I got drunk myself and fell. That I had problems with alcohol. I presented some certificates, I don't know where from. The district police said that there was no evidence and closed the case. Does he have any connections? Maxim asked. Christina nodded. He works at the mayor's office. Some head of department. He has many friends in the administration, in the police too. When I tried to appeal the court decision, they told me. She stopped short. What did they say? That it's better for me to disappear. That my uncle might file a complaint about the theft of valuables from the apartment. That he has witnesses who will confirm. And that I will be imprisoned. She looked at Maxim. I was scared. I rented a room on the outskirts, was looking for work. But there was only enough money for 2 weeks. Then there was nothing to rent. I spent the night wherever I had to with friends, in the entrances. And yesterday it became completely cold. Andy thought that at least there was a roof at the station. Maxim was silent, digesting what he heard. The story is typical for small towns, where one person with the right connections can do anything to another. Forging documents is not a problem. Finding false witnesses, please. Silencing the police is easy. And the victim can only accept or run away. But something inside Maxim opposed this injustice. Because he himself went through similar things in the early 90s, when bandits tried to squeeze out his first business. Then he miraculously got out, found a better lawyer, collected evidence. And if he hadn't found it, he would also have ended up on the street. Where does this uncle of yours live? He asked. Christina looked up at him. Why do you need it? Give me the address, Sadovaya, 14. My former apartment, she said quietly. But why do you need it? Do you have all the documents? Maxim interrupted. Mother's death certificate, your will, court decision, certificate from the emergency room. Yes, everything is here. She knocked on the bag. I keep everything. I thought it might come in handy. Maxim took out the phone, found the number in the contacts. Oleg, hello. I urgently need help. Will you come to me in an hour? It's a serious matter. Forgery of court documents and raider seizure of housing. He listened to the answer, nodded. Okay. I'm waiting. He put the phone away, looked at Christina. This is my lawyer. Will be with me in an hour. You will show him all the documents, but I can't pay you, she whispered. I have no money at all. I didn't ask for money, Maxim cut off. Show the documents, tell you everything you know. He will see if something can be done. Why are you helping me? Christina asked, looking at him incredulously. You don't even know me. I'm nothing to you. Maxim stood up. walked around the room. I don't know, honestly, he said. I don't like scoundrels who take away people's last things. Glasses with thin frames. Maxim knew him for 15 years, a reliable person, meticulous to the smallest detail, with an iron grip and a reputation as a lawyer who does not lose cases. Expensive, but worth it. Maxim nodded to Oleg, entering the house. What kind of urgency? He said on the phone about forging documents. Come into the kitchen. Maxim led him through the corridor. There's a girl who needs help. Listen to her, look at the papers. Christina was sitting at the kitchen table, nervously fiddling with the hem of her t-shirt. When they entered, she jumped up, almost knocking over the table. Oleg looked at her with an appraising look, noted her cheap clothes, frightened appearance, thinness. He sat down opposite her and laid her down. I have a tablet in front of me. Oleg Lavrentiev, lawyer. Maxim said you have problems with housing? Yes, Christina exhaled. That is. I was evicted. From my apartment. Tell me in order. And show all the documents you have. For the next 40 minutes, Christina spoke, periodically taking papers out of her shabby bag. Oleg listened in silence, making notes on the tablet, sometimes asking clarifying questions. Maxim stood at the window, watching. He saw how the lawyer's face changed, from professional interest to intense attention, and then to poorly concealed anger. One thing, how well made is the forgery? So you think that your uncle's will is fake? Christina leaned forward. I'm 90% sure of this. Oleg nodded. See for yourself. Your mother died in April. She made her last will a year before her death. Yes, in March last year, when she found out the diagnosis. And the so-called early will is dated 4 years ago. A logical question, if your mother really made a will in favor of her brother 4 years ago, why would she make a new one 3 years later? And most importantly, why does she leave everything to you in the new will? They haven't communicated, Christina said. Since the 90s. My uncle borrowed a lot of money from my mother and didn't pay it back. Mom said that she forgave him, but she doesn't want to see each other anymore. You see, Oleg tapped his finger on the table. She had no motive for making a will in his favor. But he had an excellent motive, to forge documents after her death. Apartment in the city center, 2-room, market value, Christina said quietly, 8 to 9.5 million. I ordered an appraisal when I was thinking of selling and buying something smaller. Mom needed cash then. 9.5 million, Oleg repeated, an excellent incentive for fraud. Now the question is, why did the court side with him? My uncle had a witness, Christina remembered. Some woman, I've never seen her. Oleg grinned. A purchased witness. Standard scheme. They found a woman for 5,000 who would come and confirm everything that was needed. The judge, especially if he is overloaded with cases or has some kind of interest, will not dig deeper. But how to prove that the will is fake? Asked Christina. A graphological examination, said Oleg, independent, not the same as in court. I know a good expert. If your mother's signature is forged, and I am sure that it is, the examination will show it. Next, we file an application for falsification of evidence. We demand a review of the case. With a medical certificate about beatings, we also have grounds for a criminal case, causing moderate harm to health, threats. Maxim listened and felt anger flaring up inside. He imagined this uncle a fat, satisfied face of an official who believes that he can do anything because he has connections. Maxim could not stand such people with all his soul. He himself once almost became their victim. How long will it take? He asked. Examination, 2 weeks. Filing an application to the court, another week for preparation. Consideration, Oleg winced, at least 3 months, if you're lucky. 6 months, if the judge delays. That's too long. Maxim shook his head. The law does not tolerate haste. Oleg threw up his hands. But we can speed up the process if. Without finishing, he fell silent. Christina's phone vibrated annoyingly. She shuddered, looked at the screen, her face turned white. "Uncle," she whispered. "Don't take it," Oleg advised. But the phone continued to ring. Christina looked at him as if at a snake. Maxim extended his hand. "Give it here." She handed him the phone. Maxim pressed the green button, turned on the speakerphone. "Christina, where are you?" The voice on the phone was low, hoarse. He spoke casually, almost lazily. "I know that in the city. The cameras at the station spotted you the day before yesterday. It's better to show up yourself. Let us talk like a human being." Christina silently shook her head, indicating to Maxim not to answer. But he had already raised the phone to his lips. "You will speak to her through a lawyer." There was a pause. Then the voice asked, much harsher, "Who are you?" "A man who doesn't like scoundrels who rob his niece," Maxim said calmly. "You don't need to know more." "Listen, buddy," steely notes appeared in his voice, "don't meddle in something that's not your own business. This is a family squabble, it doesn't concern you. Now it concerns Christina." A voice yelled. "Are you there? Listen here, I give you a day. You come, sign a waiver, and I forget about your antics. If you don't come, it will be worse. Much worse. I have a case against you. I'll say that you stole my mother's jewelry before her death. There are witnesses. Do you understand?" Maxim grinned. "I'm writing it down. Continue to threaten, Viktor Sergeyevich. This will all help in court." Silence again. Then the voice said slowly, with poorly hidden rage, "Oh, you bitch. Okay, you got yourself into trouble." The connection was broken. Christina sat pale, pressing her hands to her chest. "He will come," she whispered. "He always does this. When he doesn't like something, he comes himself and..." "Let him come," said Maxim. "I have security. And cameras everywhere. Just let him try." Oleg nodded. "That's even good. Threats on the phone are one thing. And if he comes here and tries to do something, we'll get another article." But we didn't have to wait long. Not even 2 hours had passed before the intercom at the gate buzzed disgustingly. Maxim looked at the monitor. A black Toyota stood at the gate near the camera. A man of about 50 with a gloomy face and short-cropped graying hair was sitting behind the wheel. There was no one nearby. "It's him," confirmed Christina, looking over Maxim's shoulder. The voice trembled. "Stay in the house," Maxim ordered, "and you too, Oleg. Film everything that happens." He left the house, walked to the gate. A man got out of the car, tall, heavy, in an expensive leather jacket. His face was flabby, with bags under the eyes, but his gaze was tenacious, appraising. He got used to because people cower in front of him. "Open the gates," he demanded. "The territory is private," Maxim answered, without coming closer. Between them there was a forged gate 2.5 meters high. "Leave while you're at it." "What are you doing, smart guy?" Petrov stepped towards the gate, grabbed the bars. "Give me the girl." "This is my niece, I came for her." "Your niece is an adult. She decides where she should be." "Yes, she is completely sick," Petrov yelled. "She has certificates from the psychiatric hospital. After the death of my mother, the roof was blown away." "Not true," Christina shouted. Maxim turned around. She was standing on the porch of the house, pale, but her eyes were burning. "I've never been to a mental hospital." "Shut up, trash," Petrov barked. "I also found myself a rich man, right? Do you think he will help you?" "He won't do anything." Maxim stepped closer to the gate, looked Petrov straight in the face. A family matter, you say. Is this when you kicked your niece out of the house? Legally kicked out. The apartment is mine, according to the court. The documents are all clean. Let's see how clean they are, Maxim said calmly. I ordered an examination of the signatures. In 2 weeks we will find out whether your will is real or a fake. Petrov twitched, as if he had been hit. For a second, something similar to fear flashed in his eyes. Then he pulled himself together, grinned. Expertise? Yes please. Everything is clear. I had a witness when drawing up the will. Everything is according to the law. A purchased witness, Oleg said, leaving the house with a tablet in his hands. Your friend Lydia Viktorovna Karpova, who confirmed in court that she was present when the will was signed. Only bad luck. According to the tax authorities, she is listed in your department as a junior specialist. Your subordinate. Convenient, right? Petrov twitched again. Maxim noticed how his knuckles, squeezing the bars, turned white. This doesn't prove anything, he muttered through his teeth. She really knew my sister. Another lie. Christina took a step forward. Mom never communicated with your colleagues. She couldn't stand you after you didn't return the money. Shut up, I said. Petrov pulled the gate so that it rang. Maxim instinctively stepped back, but the gate held. Security guard Sergei came out of the house, a former paratrooper, broad-shouldered, with an inscrutable face. He stood next to Maxim, crossing his arms over his chest. Problems? He asked calmly. Not yet, Maxim answered, but if a guest tries to enter the territory, they will. Petrov looked at the guard, then at Maxim. It was clear that thoughts were feverishly spinning in his head. He was used to solving issues in his own way, through connections, through threats, through administrative resources. And then he came across a wall. Who are you anyway? He asked. You think you have money, so you can go wherever you want. I think that justice is more important than money, answered Maxim. You took away the girl's apartment that her mother left her. Forged documents, beat her when she tried to resist. Broke her arm. I thought that I would get away with it because you have connections in the mayor's office and the police. She lied to you. She fell herself, she was drunk. The medical certificate says otherwise, Oleg intervened. A closed fracture of the radius, a bruised shoulder, multiple hematomas. The nature of the injuries corresponds to a fall from a height or a push. Plus witness testimony. The neighbors heard screams. What kind of neighbors? Petrov began to get excited. This is all nonsense. I'll hire a lawyer, the coolest one. Try. Maxim crossed his arms over his chest. Just keep in mind, I also have a good lawyer. And I have connections. And money for examinations, courts and everything else. I'll spend as much as I need. Are you ready for war? Petrov was silent, breathing heavily. His face was filled with blood, the veins on his neck were swollen. Maxim saw, the man was on the verge. A little more, and he would either climb through the gate, or break into a scream. Listen here, Maxim took a step forward, spoke quietly but firmly, you have two options. First, you voluntarily return the apartment. You sign a waiver of rights, we formalize everything through notary. Christina gets her home back. You remain free from the criminal case. We do not file a statement with the police for forgery of documents, fraud and causing harm to health. And the second one? Petrov muttered, second, we are going to court. We order an examination, raise all the dirt that you have accumulated over the years of work in the mayor's office. I will find the best lawyers, I will raise all your affairs. I am sure there is something to dig up there, kickbacks, bribes, abuse of official position. When I finish, you will not only lose your apartment. You will lose your job, your reputation, your freedom. You will go to jail for at least 5 years. Petrov laughed hoarsely. Do you think you can intimidate me? I have half the mayor's office as friends, one call and your business will be gone. We'll check, Maxim answered calmly. My business has been operating for 20 years. Survived the 90s, crises, raiders worse than you. And you are a petty official who thinks he is untouchable. I've seen dozens of them. Do you know what happened to them? Someone was sitting, someone ran away. And someone was simply deflated when they realized that they had run into the wrong one. Silence fell. All that could be heard was the sound of the wind in the trees and the distant barking of a dog. Petrov stood, gritting his teeth, and Maxim saw there was a struggle going on inside. Pride versus fear. The habit of taking things headlong versus the realization that this time it wouldn't work. Finally, Petrov spat, retreated from the gate. Fuck you all, he said. Do you think you were intimidated? I'll be back. Let's see who won. Got into the car, slammed the door. The engine started with a roar. The Toyota took off, leaving black stripes from the tires on the asphalt. Maxim followed the car with his eyes, then turned around. Christina stood on the porch, clutching the railing with her hands. The whole body was trembling. He will come back, she whispered. You don't know him. He always achieves. He won't achieve his goal this time, Maxim said firmly. Oleg, do you have everything written down? Every word, the lawyer nodded, showing the tablet. Threats, attempted entry, aggressive behavior. Plus the cameras on the gate recorded everything. This is enough for a restraining order. Draw it up, Maxim ordered, and speed up the examination, if you can. The sooner we prove the fake, the better. Oleg typed something into the tablet, nodding. Maxim climbed onto the porch, stopped next to Christina. She looked at the road along which her uncle drove off and her lips trembled. Thank you, she exhaled. I don't know why you're doing this, but... Thank you. Maxim looked at her. Thin, frightened, with bruises under her eyes from lack of sleep and stress. But in her eyes now there was a sparkle, not only fear, but also hope. For the first time in a long time, someone stood up for her. Someone didn't pass by. And Maxim suddenly realized, he is doing this not only for the sake of her. He does it for himself. To feel like a person again, and not a machine for making money. To remember what it's like to fight for something other than profit and interest. Let us go into the house, he said. Oleg will tell you what to do next. They entered the living room. Oleg laid out the documents on the table, began to explain the plan of action, examination of signatures, an application to the prosecutor's office about falsification of evidence, a counterclaim for the return of housing. All it will take time, but the chances of winning are high, especially now that there is a recording of the threats. Christina listened, nodded, sometimes asked questions. Maxim saw how she gradually calmed down, began to believe that everything could turn out differently. That not everything was lost. Oleg left in the late afternoon, promising to send preliminary documents tomorrow. Maxim walked him to the car. This is a dirty business, Oleg said, getting behind the wheel. This Petrov a typical corrupt official. He thinks that he can buy everything or intimidate. But we will break him. I have friends in the prosecutor's office, not everyone is bought there. I'll raise this question. Do what you can, Maxim nodded. Search, send it to me, not to her. Oleg grinned. Do you think I didn't understand? You're in love with her. Maxim wanted to object, but Oleg had already started the engine and drove away, cheerfully waving his hand. In love? Nonsense. I'm just helping a person in trouble. Anyone would do that. Well, almost anyone. He returned to the house. Christina sat on the sofa in the living room, clasping her knees with her hands. Looking out the window, where it was starting to get dark, "Scary?" Maxim asked, sitting down in the chair opposite. She nodded. "It's scary all the time. For the last 6 months, I've been living in a nightmare. I keep thinking, I'll wake up and it will turn out that my mother is alive, and we are at home, and none of this happened. It won't be easy," Maxim said honestly. "Your uncle will not calm down. He will put pressure, threaten, try to use connections." "Are you ready to face this?" Christina raised her eyes to him. There was determination in them. "Ready. If you are nearby." 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks that flew by like one day and at the same time dragged on painfully long. Oleg worked tirelessly, examination of signatures, requests to the court, counterclaims. Petrov also did not sit idly by. He called with threats, tried to put pressure through his acquaintances in the police, even filed a counterstatement that Christina allegedly stole valuables from apartments. But Oleg fought off every attack, methodically collecting evidence. Maxim remembered the day when the results of the examination came. Oleg called in the morning. His voice was triumphant. "The signature is fake. The expert confirmed. The handwriting does not match the signature samples of your mother, Christina. Moreover, according to the chemical analysis of the ink, the document is dated incorrectly. The modern ink is not the same as that used 4 years ago." Christina, hearing this, burst into tears. Maxim stood nearby, awkwardly handed her a handkerchief. She took it, wiped her tears, smiled through them. "So, I'm not crazy. I knew that my mother couldn't leave everything to him." She knew. After that, everything went quickly. Oleg filed an application with the prosecutor's office to initiate a criminal case against Petrov for forgery of documents and fraud. The judge, having studied the examination, cancelled the previous decision on the division of the inheritance. Petrov tried to argue, hired his lawyer, but he quickly gave up when he realized that the case was a losing one. The sweetest moment was the meeting in the notary's office. Petrov sat opposite, gloomy, with a dull look. Next to him was a lawyer, young, nervous, clearly understanding that his client was in deep trouble. Oleg laid it out on the table. Documents, explained the essence. Petrov voluntarily renounces all claims to the apartment, returns it to its rightful owner, Christina Kovaleva. In return, she does not file a civil claim for compensation for moral damage. This does not cancel the criminal case, Oleg added, looking Petrov in the eyes. The prosecutor's office has already initiated proceedings. But if you sign a waiver and return the apartment, this will be taken into account as a mitigating circumstance. Petrov was silent, clenching his jaw. Maxim saw how he was fighting with himself, pride against the fear of prison. Finally, he grabbed a pen, swung his signature on the documents, threw the pen on the table. "Get your apartment," he threw to Christina. "Just know, I won't forget this, and you know," Maxim leaned forward, "that if you even touch her with a finger, I will personally make sure that you get the maximum sentence. Now I have everything that is yours. Business in plain sight, kickbacks, bribes, abuses. One word, and all this in the prosecutor's office." Petrov turned pale, jumped up and left the office, loudly slamming the door. His lawyer hurried after him, muttering apologies. The notary drew up the documents, put the seals. Christina held the certificate of ownership in her hands and could not believe it. Fingers trembled. "Is this true?" she whispered. "The apartment is mine again?" "Yours," Oleg confirmed. "You can drive in today." They drove to Sadovaya. Maxim was driving, Christina in the front seat, Oleg in the back. She was silent the whole way, looking out the window. Only her hands kept fiddling with the hem of her jacket, the new one that Maxim bought her last week. The old one had completely fallen apart. The house on Sadovaya turned out to be a 5-story brick building, clearly Soviet-built, but well kept. The entrance is clean, with an intercom. They went up to the third floor. Christina took out the keys, the same ones that she had kept all this time in her shabby bag. She inserted them into the lock. The door opened. The apartment greeted them with the smell of someone else's cologne and tobacco. Petrov clearly did not care about cleanliness and order. There were unwashed dishes in the sink, newspapers were scattered on the sofa. Christina entered and stopped in the middle hallway. Looked around. "Mom hung a picture here," she said quietly, pointing to the bare wall. "Landscape, her favorite." "It's somewhere." Maxim walked into the rooms. The room is large, but bright, with high ceilings. The windows looked out onto the courtyard where old poplars grew. The furniture remained, but everything was in disarray. There were empty spaces on the walls. Petrov took down paintings and photographs. On the shelves in the living room had gaping holes, the books had disappeared. He took everything. Christina stood in the bedroom door, looking at the empty chest of drawers. Mom's jewelry was here. And photo albums. He took everything. Her voice trembled, but there were no tears. Apparently, in the last week she had cried all her tears. Maxim came up, put his hand on her shoulder. "We can demand the return of all this. Oleg will draw up inventory, will submit an application." "No need," Christina shook her head. "Let him keep it. I just want him to disappear from my life. Forever." She walked into a room that was clearly hers. There were traces of nails on the wall. There was an empty flower pot on the windowsill. She sat down on the bed, ran her hand over the blanket. Maxim saw how she absorbed this place, returning mentally to the times when her mother was here, when everything was fine. "We'll have to make repairs," he said. "Glue up wallpaper, change the floors. Buy new furniture." Christina looked up at him. "I don't have money for repairs. I don't even know where to look for work. I haven't worked anywhere for the last 6 months, there's a labor hole." "I'll help," Maxim said simply. "You've already done so much." She stood up and walked up to him. "They paid for the lawyer, the examination, everything else. I can never return it to you." "You don't need to return it." "But why?" There was sincere confusion in her voice. "Why are you doing all this for me? I'm nobody to you. A random girl whom you picked up in the rain." Maxim turned away, walked to the window. Poplar branches swayed behind the glass, children played in the yard. An ordinary day, an ordinary life. And he stands here and cannot answer a simple question: why? Because he was tired of loneliness. Because he saw something in her that struck a chord. Because she reminded him that in life there are things more important than money and business. "I don't know, honestly," he said without turning around. "I don't understand myself. I just wanted to help." There was silence. Then he heard her steps. She came up from behind, stopped next to her. Her voice was quiet, but firm. "Can I say thank you?" In a human way, he turned around. She stood very close, looking up. There was no fear in her eyes, which he saw in the first days. There was gratitude, warmth, and something else. Something that made his heart beat faster. "You can," he nodded. Christina hugged him. She just snuggled up, put her head on his chest. Maxim froze, not knowing what to do. Then he slowly raised his arms, hugged her back. She was fragile, warm. It smelled of cleanliness and something fresh, the shampoo that he bought her along with the clothes. They stood there without saying a word. Children were screaming outside the window. Somewhere an entrance door was slamming. In the apartment above someone was moving furniture. The usual sounds of ordinary life. And inside Maxim something was changing, breaking, being rebuilt. For the last 5 years he lived like a robot, work, home, work, home. No attachments, no feelings. Decided for myself that family is a burden, that relationships with women come down only to money. And now he stood and hugged a girl who didn't ask for anything from him, who thanked him not for money, but for the fact that he was just there. "Thank you," Christina whispered. "For everything." She pulled away, looked at him. Her eyes were wet, but her smile was real. "Let me have you. I'll feed you. At least I know how to cook. This is the only way I can repay." Maxim wanted to refuse. To say that he was busy, that he had to go. But instead he heard his own voice, "Come on." For the next 2 weeks, Maxim came to Sadovaya every day. He hired a team of workers. They removed the old wallpaper, changed the floors, painted the ceilings. Christina hung around, helped as much as she could, choosing colors, laying out tools. They went to furniture stores together, chose a sofa, cabinets, a table for the kitchen. Maxim was surprised at how easy it was with her. No need to strain, come up with topics for conversation. She talked about her mother, about her childhood, about how she wanted to become a teacher, but it didn't work out. He talked about business, about how he started in '91 with a trading stall, how he almost lost everything when the bandits tried to squeeze out the business. "You weren't scared then?" asked Christina, when they were sitting on the windowsill in her room, waiting for the workers to finish laying the laminate. "I was scared," admitted Maxim, "very. They came with bats. They said, either you give up the stall, or you will end up in the hospital. I had a friend then, a former policeman. He helped, found justice for them. But I still remember that fear. That's exactly why you helped me," Christina said quietly, "because they themselves went through it." Maxim remained silent. Maybe she was right. Maybe he saw himself in her, just as scared, driven into a corner, and could not pass by. When the renovation was finished, the apartment was transformed. Light walls, new furniture, clean windows. Christina walked from room to room, touching everything with her hands, as if not believing. Maxim stood at the entrance, watching. Felt a strange satisfaction, not from the money, but from the fact that you did something really important. "Maxim," she stopped in the middle of the living room, turned to him, "I will be grateful to you all my life. You gave me back my house. You gave me back my life." He came up and stopped next to me. The sun was setting outside the window, filling the room with orange light. Dust danced in the rays. The smell of fresh paint and wood. "Christina," he began, and suddenly realized that he didn't know how to say what had been spinning in his head for the last few days. She looked at I was waiting for him. Something flashed in my eyes, understanding, hope? I wanted to ask. Maxim took a deep breath. "You don't want to? Well, stay here, with me. With me. Next to me." Christina was silent. Maxim saw how quickly the vein on her neck was beating. She bit her lip, looked at him, and he could not understand what was there in her eyes, agreement or doubt. "Are you serious?" she finally whispered, "Seriously. But why?" She gestured around the apartment, "I now have my own place. I don't need your help anymore. You are free." "I know," said Maxim, "but I don't want to be free. Not from you." The words sounded loud in the silence of the room. He himself was surprised that he said them. But it was the truth. Over these weeks, Christina became a part of his life. He got used to waking up and thinking that he would see her today. I got used to her smile, to her voice, to the way she looks at the world with hope, despite everything that she has experienced. "Maxim," Christina stepped closer, I don't want you to be free either. From me." She smiled through her tears, and he saw in that smile everything he needed to know. He hugged her, pressed her to him. She wrapped her arms around his neck, and they stood like that until outside the window. It didn't get dark at all. Another month passed. Christina moved in with Maxim, not because the apartment on Sadovaya was bad, but because she didn't want to be away from him. They decided to rent out the apartment, money for Christina to live, so that she could get back on her feet. The house, which had previously seemed too big and empty to Maxim, was filled with life. Christina cooked in the evenings simple dishes, but tasty. They had dinner in the kitchen, talked about everything and nothing. She found a job in the library, a small salary, but she liked it. Maxim helped with the device, wrote a recommendation. Oleg came sometimes, looked at them and grinned. He said that he fell in love. Maxim didn't argue. Yes, he fell in love. With this fragile girl with dark hair and light eyes. With her laughter, with her stubbornness, with the way she tried to repay kindness for kindness, although he repeated that nothing was needed. Petrov still received a suspended sentence, 3 years. Oleg tried, collected all the evidence. The official was fired from the mayor's office, his reputation collapsed. The last time Maxim saw him in court, extinct, aged, with empty eyes. It was almost a pity. Almost. One evening, when it was snowing outside the window, the first of this year, Christina was sitting on the sofa, reading a book. Maxim entered the living room, sat down next to her. She put the book aside, looked at him. "What are you thinking about? About how strange everything turned out? If it weren't for that rain, not the station, not your bag, we would never have met." "Fate smiled," said Christina, "or luck. Or just an accident. It doesn't matter. It's important that we met." She took his hand, intertwined her fingers with hers. Maxim looked at their joined hands and thought, yes, an accident. But how important. How right, Christina, he turned to her, "Stay with me. Forever." She didn't answer right away. She looked at him with a long gaze, in which there was so much gratitude, tenderness, love. Then she smiled with that same smile that took his breath away. "I want," she whispered. "I really want to." He kissed her. Gently, carefully. It was snowing outside the window, firewood was crackling in the fireplace, the house was warm and cozy. Maxim realized, he is no longer alone. He has a home in the real sense of the word. Not walls and a roof, but a place where they are waiting for him. Where they love him. Christina pressed herself close to him, resting her head on his shoulder. They sat so silently, listening to the silence. And this silence was full of happiness, simple, human, real. The next morning Maxim woke up earlier. Christina was still asleep, curled up under the blanket. He looked at her and couldn't believe it. Just a couple of months ago he didn't know about her existence. And now he couldn't imagine life without her. It all started with that rainy evening, with that girl on the steps of the station. He could have driven past. He could not have stopped. He could have kicked her out in the morning without looking into the bag. And life would have rolled along the old rut, empty, cold, meaningless. But he stopped. And that changed everything. Christina opened her eyes, smiled out of sleep. "Good morning." "Good," he answered, kissing her forehead. They got up, had breakfast together. Outside the window, the sun melted the night snow, the world woke up. New day, new life. And Maxim was no longer afraid of this life. Because now I wasn't walking through it alone. Thank you for listening to the story. The Stories of the Big City channel was with you. Sorry for the mistakes, write in the comments what you think. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel.